Hello everyone, this is Debbie Henderson from Debbie's Designs. Welcome to my weekly afternoon tea time and a card. I'm just going to give it a few seconds for everyone to find me. I know sometimes you guys don't see me pop up right away. Good evening everyone. So this is my afternoon tea time and a card that I host weekly. And I usually load my video to YouTube once I'm done. So if you don't catch it live on Facebook, you'll get to watch it on YouTube. Hello everyone, I'm so glad you're here. So today I'm going to create a project using the Sweet as Peach stamp set. Now this is a stamp set that also has the coordinating peach dies, which I will not be using today. I'm just stamping today. And before I get started, I wanted to mention a few things. Paper Pumpkin for October. For those of you that are subscribed to Paper Pumpkin, your kits would have shipped on September 11th. Our October kit is our Christmas kit. It's usually the biggest one of the year. And I know that I like to remind everyone because a lot of people like to increase their kits to 2 or 3 boxes instead of just the one. And a lot of times they sell out. And if you're a subscriber that has suspended or canceled your account, you can bring your account current and make sure you do that by October 10th so you can receive our Christmas kit. My next announcement is the Christmas Whimsy Kit that just became available last week. I'm hosting a Zoom live class to stamp with anybody that orders the kit using this hostess code. And the item number is 158166 for $19. My class is going to be on October 15th at 7 p.m. And guess what? I received my kit today. So I wanted to show you guys what it looks like before I get started for tonight. So there's our little instruction sheet with all the pictures and the steps to putting your cards together. Night of Navy is the Stampin' spot. We have some gold twine. We always get a clear block. And the stamp set, let me see if I can grab a piece of white here so you can see the beautiful stamp set. Now, if you guys just add this and this together, there's a big value right there for the $19.95 price for this kit. Gold foil stars, the little glue dots, dimensionals, and look at these pretty embellishments. There's little stars and little snowflakes. And then let me just put all of this back in so that I can show you the card bases. So we have 2 card bases. This one here with the Christmas tree, it's got little gold foil on the little garland. And then this one with the beautiful scenery. And then we have some die cuts. So we got two types of die cuts. And look at these whimsical pieces that will go on the front of each card. I think these are so neat. I love the theme. And last but not least is the gold foil envelopes. Look at the detail on the envelopes. So again, I'm going to be hosting a class on October 15th. So make sure you order the kit in time so you can join us using the hostess code. One last announcement. After I'm done creating today, I'm going to pick a name for the In Your Words stamp set. This is one of the host stamp sets during celebration. So I'm going to draw a name for that. And I'm also going to draw a name for the card I'm creating today. Okay, so let's get started. It looks like everybody's finding me okay. I'm going to bring some pretty layers in and then I'll show you the card. I am using Your Peach designer paper tonight. This is 8 1/4 by 8 1/4. Shaded Spruce is my cardstock for my card base. 5 1/2 by 8 1/2, scored at 4 1/4. So I'm going to press with my bone folder, get that ready. Then I've got Granny Apple Green for layer number 2, 5 1/4 by 4. This is just a scrap for stamping, Granny Apple Green. I've got a coordinating piece here. Oh, look, I just did my nail polish. Look, I got nail polish all over that. This is layer number 3, 5 inches by 3 3/4. And then I have 2 label shapes I did with basic white, and I used the Stitch So Sweetly dies, this one right here. I'm also using our paper Lattice. Now these are really neat. I'm gonna see if I can bring them up close for you to see. Let me put them on this piece right here. So look at how pretty that is. And there's actually 10 of these in this package. And then for ink colors, I'm using Pale Papaya, Calypso Coral, Granny Apple Green. I've got some mini glue dots. I've got the Flirty Flamingo Metallic Ribbon. Look how sparkly that is. It's got gold all over it. And I'm also using the Bumblebee Trinkets. So let's get started. I'm going to show you what I'm creating. I'm going to leave this out because I'm going to start out with that. Now, a funny thing is I was cleaning out one of my containers and one of my shelves in my stamp room. And I used to save all of my card folds for just for patterns. And this is an old one that I found. This is very dated. It's probably about 10 years old, I bet. An older stamp set. And this is called the squash fold. And that's what I'm going to show you how to do today. See how that folds? And you could even add confetti in here so that when the recipient opens it, the confetti would go flying. But that's not the design I'm using. Is this one with the peaches, sweet as a peach, and I've got my little my little bumblebee right there on the label shape, and there's the inside. So this is what I'm showing you how to create today, and I do have a pattern. I will take a picture of the pattern and put it on our Facebook page, so you guys can use it later if you want to replicate my card. So the first thing I'm going to do is bring in my designer paper, again 8 1/4 by 8 1/4. We're going to score that at 4 1/8. That's in half. Now when I'm scoring designer paper, I always use the bigger ball on my stylus, because if you use the little one, you might cut right through it. So I've gone ahead and done vertically at 4 1/8. Now I'm going to turn this, and that's why I always like to have a black line on the 6-inch mark, because this guides me when I want to do diagonal. So I'm going to go, you probably won't be able to see the whole thing on my screen. So I'm lining this up on the black line, both corners. I'm going to go down. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. So 2 diagonal scores. Okay, so far I've done this one, and this one. Now I have to do each corner. So we're going to go 2 inches up to the diagonal score line. So there's number 1. I'm going to keep going. 2 inches, 2 inches, and 2 inches. To make it easy, I'm going to just flip this over. And I'm going to do the same thing up to the score line. We're going to be folding all of these, so it doesn't really matter which side you're doing your score lines on. Okay, so now my score lines look just like my pattern. I'm going to go ahead and fold on all the score lines. I'm going to go across. Then I'm going to go diagonal. And then I'm going to go diagonal one more time. Okay, now when you see this inside, the one that goes across is going to go horizontal. And that's this one here. And what I did to make this easy, I start folding the little square, And then I'm going to bring it over because we have to close it. And then I'm just going to press with my bone folder so you can see how that creases on the inside. You want to do that for all 4 square pieces. So there's number 2. So you can see already it's taking shape. It kind of folds in by itself once you start it. So you just press down, whoops, and push that over. Okay, so now, again, I told you that this goes horizontal, the one in the middle. So we're going to make sure we're going to press down and make those flat. And we're going to do the same thing. Let's see if I can get this right. Where's my horizontal? Right there. Okay, so these will actually go, if you just press down and flatten those out, everything else should fall in place. And what you actually end up with, you see this shape right here? It looks like a house. That's the shape you're going to end up with when you're done. So we're just going to press. I'm going to press on both sides just to flatten this out as much as I can. And that's your squash fold. See how this is what it looks like when you look at it from above. I'm just going to put that aside. And again, I'm going to take a picture of this and put it up on the page so you guys can make one. Now let's bring this in. I'm going to bring in everything I need. And I did need a white for the inside also at 5 1/4 by 4. So I'm going to go ahead and lay that on the inside. Did I do both sides? No, I just did one side. And I'll explain how I'm going to use this white piece later when I put this piece on the inside. Now we're going to glue the granny apple to the front. And you notice that I am using a different pattern for my designer paper. I just wanted to show you 2 different patterns. Now I've got the designer paper. Can you imagine though filling this up with some sparkly goodies and then they open it, everything goes flying? I think that would be funny. I'm going to glue this at an angle. I want to check something out. I want to see if I can take off. Okay, there we go. I just did my nail polish and I'm getting the nail polish all over everything. It's just like rubbing off my fingers, but this takes it off. Okay. Now my next step, I'm going to go ahead and glue the lattice in place. And the easiest way I found to do that, you'll see that some of the areas have a solid circle or an open circle. I just added little dots of glue on the solid circle. And it makes it really easy. Now, I know a lot of the girls in my, when I have classes in my home, which I haven't had for a while, a lot of people squeeze these bottles way too hard and then they just get really big clumps of liquid glue. Just go easy when you're squeezing. Okay, so now I'm ready to glue that in place. And because I glued this one at an angle this way, I'm going to glue the other one in the opposite angle. I'm going to glue that about right there. Look how pretty that is against the designer paper. Next, we're going to use the ribbon. I'm just going to wrap that around the card front and create a bow. And my bow, my ribbon itself is about 1.5 inches from the top. I thought I'd put it on the top of my card base instead of the bottom this time. Let me just tighten up my loops and bring in my scissors. Okay, so now I'm going to make sure this is nice and straight and a little bit over to the left. Let me plump that up a little bit. Now we're going to do a little bit of stamping. So let me bring in my scrap. And I did stamp the one on the inside also. Now I am doing 2 colors on my peach. But let me go ahead and do the greenery first. Okay, this is the one for the outside. So that's gonna go right there. Whoops, I missed a little bit there. Do you know how? I'm gonna show you how to fill that in. Hold on a minute. I didn't press quite hard enough, so I'm gonna use my Stampin' Right marker. And I'm going to fill that in. See, nobody will even know. And the one on the inside, I have the greenery off to the left, so there's room for a little signature there. So I'm going to do that one while I have this on my block. Now, my peaches. I did something a little different on my peaches. I've got 2 ink colors here. I've got my sponge dauber for the Calypso Coral. I'm going to ink my peaches with the pale papaya, and then I'm going to take my sponge dauber and just add some color on the edge, just on one side where the shadow would be. And now I'm going to actually line this up, and you'll see that I'll have my 2-tone peaches. Look how neat that is. See where you get the 2 colors? And it's so subtle because of I did it with a sponge. I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing. Let me go ahead and clean off my image, my stamp. So again, I'm going to use the pale papaya, Calypso Coral on the edge. And then I'm going to stamp on the inside like you see here. And let me see if I can figure out which peach goes where. It goes this way. Now, I'm going to show you how you know where your peaches go, because on the stamp image there's a little indented area on each one, and that's where it joins up with your stems. Pretty easy. Okay, now I'm going to add my Have a Peachy Day, whoops, on this one with Calypso Coral. So that one's all ready to glue on the inside. And then all I have left is my Sweet as a Peach. And I need my Granny Apple Green. Let me move some of these ink pads. I'm actually going to stamp this twice. And then I'm going to bring in my paper snips because I want to go as close to the lettering as I can. And yes, I am doing this freehand. The reason I did 2 of these, I'm going to focus on one word going across, so I might not have enough room for the one above it. That's why I did it twice. Because you'll see once I cut this off, it's really too close to that word, so that's why I wanted to do a second one. Okay, so there's my word as a peach. This time I'm going to focus on the word sweet, so I'm going to go closer to the word peach and knock that out. And of course you have one letter on each word that's a little higher than the other, so that's why I'm going around it. Okay, there's my 2 words. Now we're gonna glue the whole front first, and then I'll show you how to do the inside. So now I'm going to glue this in place with dimensionals. I'm not adding dimensionals more towards the middle because that's where the ribbon is going to go. I actually should have put these a little higher on the top. Okay, so now this is going to go right in the center, but higher up, and I still need to straighten out my ribbon. So what I'm looking at is the ribbon is going right in the corner, and then I'm going to bring in my mini dimensionals for my 2 words. So here is the word sweet. This card is sweet as a peach. And I need to grab a little bumblebee trinket. I'm going to glue that in place with glue dots. And I'm actually going to add 2 glue dots. I just press them right on the glue dots and they peel right off. And I'm going to have him come flying down. Okay, so there's my front. Now we're going to do the inside. I'm going to bring in my folded, let me just get rid of some stuff here. Okay, I'm going to bring in my folded designer paper. And I'm going to add liquid glue only because if I get it wrong the first time, I can move it around. Now, what I'm going to do as I lay this down is using the white piece, I'm going to line up my designer paper on the edge of the white piece. I'm just going to press that, make sure it opens. Now I'm going to add liquid glue to the top part. And all I'm going to do is press down, just fold the card closed. I'm just going to hold it just for a little bit. And then look at that. Look how easy that was. And then we can glue the sentiment to the inside. And there is a little bit of room there for signing. So there's your inside. You could put another piece up here if you wanted to. But look how simple that was, and it opens this way. Now, before I do my drawings, I wanted to announce 2 things that we have going on our Stampin' Ink Designs page right now. So this is the card that I posted for you guys for the Creative Challenge. I always host a challenge each month on the Stampin' Ink Designs group on Facebook. The challenge this month is to create a slimline card. Isn't that cute? And I gave you guys all the measurements, so just copy the measurements, add as many layers as you want, and you'll be entered into the drawing. I'll pick a name once the month is over with. And the other challenge, or not really challenge, a creative thing we have going on is our sampler swap. I am going to show my 2 squares ahead of time because I think everybody that was in my groups probably has received their squares. But we have a Halloween sampler going on, a swap. This is the square I created. Now, you guys that are in my group, I mailed one of these to the wrong person. So if you did not get this square, please let me know because the other person is waiting to mail it to you. And then for the fall one, this is my sampler square. And next week, instead of having a card or project class, next week's afternoon tea time and a card, I'm going to show you guys how to assemble your samplers. Okay, now, let me dig out, where's my stamp set? Okay, I'm going to draw, like I said, for the card first and then the stamp set. And starting now, everybody needs to stop commenting. Starting now, I need to see the word peach. Gloria Powers. Okay, and I think Gloria, you won last week. So Vicky was number 13 and Gloria was number 22. So Gloria wins the stamp set and Vicky will win one of my cards. So that's it for tonight, everyone. Let me open this one so you guys can see what the inside looks like. And again, next week, we're going to be putting our sampler squares together. So next week at 7 p.m. on Wednesday. I hope to see you guys next week. Have a good week, everyone.